Piggins. Trit-trot, trit-trot. That's the sound of Piggins the butler at 47 The Meadows, going up the stairs. He has shined the silver teapot so well he can see his snout in it. Upstairs, Ms. Reynard is in a terrible dither. Ms. Reynard is in a terrible dither. I cannot find my diamond lavalier, she said to her husband. Is it missing again? Mr. Reynard asks. Perhaps one of the servants took it. His whiskers twitch. Our cook? Our Sarah? Our Jane? Not possible, says Ms. Reynard. Mr. Reynard smiles widely enough so that his teeth show. Perhaps the butler did it. Our Piggins? Ms. Reynard is clearly shocked. He finds things, he does not take things. I know, my dear, said Mr. Reynard. I was making a little joke. Look again and I'll help you. He gets up from his chair. They look and look. At last they find the necklace right where it belongs, in Ms. Reynard's jewelry box. Below stairs. Cook has just removed the cake from the oven. The kitchen is sweet with its smell. Sarah, the scullery maid, has scrubbed the pots and pans. She looks as if she needs a scrubbing herself. Upstairs, Jane has finished setting the table. Everything is in its proper place. In the dining room, Piggins is pleased. The glasses sparkle. The silver gleams. Even the chandelier glitters like 1,000 diamonds. Ding dong. That's the front doorbell. Piggins goes to answer it. The dinner guests have started to arrive. Inspector Bayswater and his friend Professor T. Ortis, not Tortoise, T. Ortis, are on the steps. The professor is telling a joke. Lord and Lady Ratsby alight from a carriage. They're arguing with the driver over the fare. Down the street comes the motor car of the world-famous explorer Pierre Lapin and his 3 unmarried sisters. He honks the horn. Auga! Auga! His sisters scream with delight. Lovely weather, says the professor in the living room. He is famous for his conversation. His students all say proudly, Professor T. Ortis taught us well. Lord and Lady Ratsby eye the cheeses hungrily. They sample every cheese and even slip a few pieces into their pockets. Inspector Bayswater takes out his pipe. He does not light it. The doctors have advised him not to smoke. Pierre Lapin settles his sisters. Do you want something to drink, he asks them. Anything but tea, the eldest says. The other 2 giggle. Mr. and Mrs. Reynard come into the room and smile warmly at their friends. They greet each of them by name. Everyone admires Ms. Reynard's diamond lavalier. You may wonder why I've asked you here this evening, says Mr. Reynard, but no one really wonders. Mr. Reynard is a tinkerer. He loves to invite friends over to show off his latest invention. Mr. Reynard surprises them. Tonight, I will say nothing about my inventions, though I do have 1 or 2 small new things. He waves his paw toward several strange contraptions in the corner of the room. Tonight, I want to tell you about dinner is served, announces Piggins. So, 2 by 2, they go into dinner. Lord and Lady Ratsby are so hungry they scamper on ahead. Slow but steady, the professor brings up the rear, the eldest, Miss Lapin, on his arm. It would simply not do to let Cook's wonderful food get cold. When the shrimp soup has been served, Mr. Reynard smiles. I have invited you to dinner tonight so that you can admire my wife's brand new diamond necklace. And so you can hear the story of why we must sell it. Sell it? The eldest, Miss Lapin, leans forward. But it's so beautiful. How could you bear to part with it? It must be worth a great deal of money, said Lady Ratsby. She fingers her own necklace, a simple gold chain. Yes, it is beautiful, says Ms. Renard. It is quite expensive, but... But what? Asks the inspector. His professional interest has been aroused. There is a curse on the diamond, said Mr. Renard. A curse? Everyone talks at once. Mr. Renard silences them by holding up his right paw. Yes, a curse. The miner who found the diamond broke his arm. The cutter who shaped it broke all his tools. The store that sold the necklace burned down right after the sale. And you? Asks the professor, keeping the conversation going. Yes, says Pierre Lapin. What has happened to you? Ms. Renard looks sad. I have lost the Lavaliere 3 times already. Sarah broke a bowl and a glass. Cook's first cake flopped. The children have the fox-pox, and... Nothing serious has happened yet, said Mr. Renard, but just in case, we have decided to sell the Lavaliere as soon as possible. I know all of you are interested in gems, so I called you together tonight. We are interested indeed, said Lord Ratsby. What good timing. Suddenly, the lights go out. A strange tinkling sound is heard. There's a scramble of feet. Several objects thud to the floor. There is a high, squeaky scream. In comes Piggins with a candle. Lord Ratsby finds the light switch and turns on the glittering chandelier. Professor T. Ortis stands up. Pierre Lapin sets the table aright. Just then, Ms. Renard clutches her throat. She screams, "My diamond Lavaliere, it's gone!" She falls back in a faint. Lady Ratsby points her finger at Piggins. Perhaps the butler did it. Balderdash and poppycock, says Mr. Renard. He turns to the inspector. I cannot believe our Piggins did it. Can you find any clues to the real thief? The inspector examines the room. He searches everywhere. He finds a red thread near the door, crumbs on the table, a little bit of dirt on the floor. He cannot find the diamond Lavaliere. I am stumped, he says at last. Humph, snorts Lady Ratsby. Professor T. Ortis is at a loss for words for the first time in his life. Pierre Lapin comforts his 3 sisters who sniffle into their lace handkerchiefs. Ms. Renard comes out of her faint. Piggins smiles. I, on the other hand, am not stumped. I know who has done it. Good show, Piggins, said Mr. Renard. Tell us everything, and I will record it with my latest invention. First, there are the clues, said Piggins. A piece of red thread near the door, a trail of cheese crumbs on the table, the tinkling sound we all heard, the scream... And the dirt on the floor, asked the inspector. For that, I shall have to speak sharply to upstairs Jane, says Piggins, frowning. There should be no dirt in this house. I do not understand the clues, says the professor. Thread, crumbs, a tinkling sound, a scream? There is not one thief, but 2, explains Piggins. One to turn off the lights and make a commotion, and one to steal the diamond Lavaliere. Oh, says Pierre Lapin. I know all about making commotions. In my youth, I stole into a farmer's garden and made too much noise. Much too much noise. The clues remind the Misses Lapin together. Piggin continues. Before everyone came into dinner, somebody tied the red thread to a light switch. At a signal, the thread was pulled and the lights turned off. But the thread was pulled so hard it broke. In the dark, someone grabbed the necklace and stepped up onto the table, leaving a trail of cheese crumbs where no cheese crumbs had been served. The tinkling sound was the chandelier being disturbed. The scream was the signal that all was clear. Then that means, says Inspector Bayswater, that the thieves are, said the professor. None of them, said Mr. Renard. Lord and Lady Ratsby, finishes Piggins. They knew about the diamond all along and planned to steal it at the very first chance. But where is the diamond? Asked the professor. Inspector Bayswater looked everywhere. Yes, sneers Lord Ratsby. Where is your precious diamond? Piggins smiles. In plain sight. He steps on one of the chairs and reaches up into the glittering chandelier. He finds the necklace. I suspected the Ratsbys were broke, says the eldest Miss Lapin. Lady Ratsby is wearing a simple gold chain. Usually she drips jewels. Catch them, Ms. Reynard cries, for the Ratsbys were trying to escape. The eldest Miss Lapin sticks out her foot. She trips Lord Ratsby. The younger Mrs. Lapin jump on top of Lady Ratsby. Well done, Piggins, said Mr. Reynard. Well done, girls, cries Mrs. Reynard. Curses, says Lord Ratsby. Professor T. Ortis laughs. Curses indeed. Perhaps, Reynard, the curse on your Lavalier is at its end. The police are summoned, and they take the Ratsbys away. Upstairs, Mr. and Mrs. Reynard get ready for bed. Ms. Reynard carefully wraps the diamond Lavalier in a velvet cloth. She puts it away in her jewelry box. I hope the curse is ended, she says. I would hate to part with my beautiful necklace. Mr. Reynard nods and takes off his tie. I knew the butler did not do it, he says. Not our Piggins, says Ms. Reynard. Below stairs, Sarah has cleaned the last of the dishes. She could do with the cleaning herself. Cook snoozes in her chair, and Jane, having swept up the dirt from the dining room floor, has set the kettle on the stove for one last cup of tea. In the dining room, everything is quiet and clean. Piggins locks the door at 47 The Meadows. He hears the kettle whistling. It has been a long and interesting evening. Piggins is tired. Teapot in hand, he goes back downstairs. Trit-trot, trit-trot, trit-trot.